Hello everyone, my name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. You can find me on my blog at stampingwithhart.blogspot.com, and today we are doing one of those rare videos where I voice over the entire video. I also sped up the majority of this video, and I will tell you why in a moment. But for everybody who is new here to my channel, I just want to give you a shout out, say hello, welcome, thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting. I have loved interacting with all of you. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to subscribe so that you can see more fun crafty videos like this one. Okay, so we're going to start with the Stampin Blends, the brand new Stampin Blends. This is the Natural Tones Stampin Blends color chart. Now, I sped this up pretty quickly because even though I did want to show it, I don't want to spend too much time on it for those who might not be interested. So I am going to fill in this entire chart. It is sped up, but if you want to fast forward to the card making, you can do that. So we have a brand new collection called the All Together Collection. We have a bundle where there are stamps, there are dies, there is a designer series paper pack, and there are also brand new 10 Stampin Blends, which is what you're seeing here. And you can either buy those Stampin Blends in packs of 2, or you can actually get the entire pack of 10. So you could buy the entire collection too, from the stamps all the way down to the blends. And I am going to be featuring elements from the entire collection in this video. So this video was a little bit ambitious for me. I originally was just going to do my Facebook Live and put the replay up here on YouTube like I normally do. But I had a lot of problems with my Facebook Live on Thursday night. We had a major storm here, and I don't know if that was a factor. And then my son is sick right now, and that was definitely a factor. I was doing this over a series of days, just trying to clip and record pieces together where I could. So for anybody who is interested in the alcohol markers, if you're not familiar with what our Stampin' Blends are, they are alcohol-based markers, which means that you can blend multiple marker tones or shades to get a custom blend color. This is really good for highlighting and for creating shadows, you know, anything like that. And as I'm going through the colors here, which they've named 100 to 1000, we're seeing the color combinations that are blending together really well, and then maybe the ones that are a little too contrasty, which means you would need to add in a third or maybe a fourth color. But you can see how they're all starting to blend together. So my advice would be, if you are very interested in getting to learn alcohol markers and blending, to play around with this color chart or to play around with your new markers. And if you are not that serious about it, you like to just do very basic, easy coloring, then don't worry about the chart. But I wanted to show it so that you could get a really good look at the colors that we have going on there. Okay, so now we're sort of jumping into the card making tutorial. I'm going to be making 4 cards here. Just showed the 10 Stampin' Blends. I just went briefly, rather, through the designer series paper pack. 6x6 double-sided black and white patterns all the way across. I'm using this hands pattern for 2 of my cards. Same card layout for both cards, but different colors for the hands. So we're just going to kind of walk through the coloring here. Very simple coloring, okay? And then as you can see, I'm writing the numbers down that I used on each hand as I go along. So the first one was 500. We'll see the second one here in just a minute, 400. So as we go on, I don't know if that is either 100 or 200 on this third hand here, but these are just one color each hand. I did not do any detailed blending. Now, the one thing I want to say with designer series paper versus coloring with alcohol markers on cardstock, it's a distinct difference. You have to be more careful on designer series paper because the paper is thinner And if you leave your markers on one spot too long, it can bleed outside the lines. So what you're seeing here is me just doing really light feathery strokes along as I'm doing each hand here. Okay, so for the rainbow hand, the theme that I was going for with this card was for autism, awareness, acceptance, that whole theme, since we have that in my family. So I chose different Stampin' Blends for this, and I'll leave that up for a moment so you can see the colors. But basically, we're going to do the same layout, but with the rainbow hands versus the skin tone blends shades. So here you can see me just kind of working through the layout. So my card base, and before I get to the card base, let me tell you about the dies. So I am using the Playful Alphabet dies here with the polished pink cardstock. I'm spelling the word love. I'm also cutting out the heart, and I'm also cutting out Here For You. So Here For You and the heart are from the Here For You dies, which is part of the All Together collection. And the Playful Alphabet dies are the single alphabet letters that you see here. So I do recommend the adhesive sheets with the Here For You or the You Matter dies that cut out these words or phrases. It's just so much easier to adhere them as a sticker than to have to put a bunch of glue on the back of it, but you can do whatever you prefer. So my card base here was 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, and then the layering piece, the black and white pattern that I chose from the Designer Series paper pack, is 4 by 5 1/4. The hands have been trimmed down to 3 inches because I cut that 6 by 6 sheet in half. And then I think it's cut to 5 inches, which meant I ended up trimming off one of the hands. If you want to keep the full 6 inches and make a larger card, you can fit that 7th hand on your card pattern here. So I'm just using my fine tip glue pen to adhere my word love in the polished pink cardstock. This is one of my favorite colors. I also used the polished pink ribbon to go with that as well. I think it turned out really cute. I did slightly different positioning, but the concept was that the hands were either holding up the letters or they were on the tips of the fingers there. Okay, so now we're going to jump into the second card, and what you are seeing here is me starting to color in the outline of basically what is Earth. So I couldn't record the first part of doing this particular piece, and what I did was I just Googled images of Earth on my computer, and then I took a circle, that's a 3-inch circle that you're seeing there from the layering circle dies. I put it up to my computer screen and I literally just traced the Earth image, like the land patterns there. And so I'm filling this in Granny Apple Green Dark. And on the first Earth, I did Bermuda Bay Light. And on this Earth, we're going to use Bermuda Bay Dark. And that is just to give a variety of choices there. You can see what color that you like better for your Earth there. But the specific reason why I chose to do this theme, and you may have a stamp of Earth or the planets, and just, make it easier on yourself and use that. But what I really wanted to do here was have a different theme of the hands either holding or being in front of the Earth with the particular sentiment, every act of kindness changes the world. Okay, so when I saw that, I really wanted to do something with it. So there are dies that will cut out these hands. But what I wanted to do was manipulate the images a little more than what you typically would, which is why I'm fussy cutting and I'm getting really close to it. Now, it doesn't always work out perfectly when you are designing cards, right? So when we're playing with different layouts or we're trying something a little bit more on the creative side, sometimes it's just a little bit of trial and error. And I did have some challenges when I was designing my cards because I was being a little bit ambitious. I wanted to do 4 cards. And I knew I couldn't do that on a Facebook Live, especially with everything that was just going wrong. So here, I did some pre-recorded, content and sessions, which is why everything has been put in fast forward mode. So this is the Stampin' Blend 100 for this particular hand. And then on the other side, it's 700. And then I extended the length of their arms. You'll see why. But again, I just wanted to have a little bit more leeway. So I just manipulated my hand images slightly. I extended out the arm. I really, fussy cut around each one of those hands because I wanted to see if I could get, sorry about that. I wanted to see if I could get those hands to hold the earth. And I do really love the way that they turned out in the end, but it was a process of, working through everything. So here you can see me positioning the arms and the hands and just taking a look at that, just trying to find what I liked. So this is the same card base size, but it's Bermuda Bay cardstock with a layer of basic white. Then we have the, it's like a leaf pattern with the designer series paper. One of my favorite things about black and white designer series paper patterns is the versatility and what you can do with it. And that's sort of the whole point of this entire collection, right? So I'm taking the Granny Apple Green Dark and I'm just creating a pattern where we have the white and then we have the green. So now I'm stamping in Memento Tuxedo Black ink, that sentiment, and I am going to adhere my pieces. But what I wanted to do here, and you can see I'm having some trouble with my glue, what I wanted to do here was just play around with the hearts and see if I wanted to put the heart inside the hand or if I just wanted to leave the way that the artist had created that heart that they make by the two hands touching. And I ultimately decided not to do that. I also briefly put in the die cut piece so that you could see what that looks like if you would rather just do the simple stamp and die cut versus doing the fussy cutting, because I know that many people don't like to do the fussy cutting. So here I am trying to adhere glue. I was having some trouble with my glue today, and I just got so frustrated that I decided to use my adhesive sheets to create that sticker. Literally ran it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So much easier. So here you see me just pulling that apart. The one thing I would have done differently was rather than pulling from the bottom, I think I would have went top down. And then I also cut a heart out in the basic white cardstock as well. So here on the inside, it adheres as a sticker perfectly. And here I decided to put my little heart image right above the hands instead of in the middle, because I didn't want to mess with the pattern ultimately that the hands created. And I love how this card turned out. I was so happy with it. So now I'm going through for my second card base to just find that pattern that I wanted, and I ended up settling on the hearts. So it's an overall black pattern, but it has little white hearts all throughout. I did my cutting slightly different on this card. I meant to cut it at 3 3/4 and I cut it at 3 1/2. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to work with it. So this is the Bermuda Bay Light, and I'm doing that same thing where I'm just coloring the hearts every other row in that color. And the card base on this one is Granny Apple Green. This is that slightly darker earth, or that slightly darker world. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking those hands that I had cut out previously, and I'm going to position them with my world as if they are holding the world up. And that I definitely wanted those multi skin tones there to say that every act of kindness does change the world, because it does. So here I am using the Pool Party sheer ribbon is what you're seeing down there. And now I'm popping this up on dimensionals. So the world and the hands are being propped up on dimensionals, trimming off that excess. And I'll put this on in just a second there. There you go. And I'm going to finish this with a bow. So I love how that one turned out too. So you can definitely manipulate your stamped hand images and do something really, custom and unique. And I just think it turned out great. Okay, so the one thing that I wanted to mention about the Altogether collection, I wasn't sure when it first came out, but I did since find out the Stampin' Blends are going to carry over into the new annual catalog, but the collection, the stamp, the dies, and the paper are temporary, and they will be leaving, I think, by it's either May 3rd or May 4th or something like that. So the Altogether collection will be available until the beginning of May. If you have any questions about that, don't hesitate to reach out to me. All of my contact information, my shopping links, all of that are in the description box below. Now, this last card gave me a lot of trouble, and I don't know what my issue was. I think I was trying to do a larger card base than I typically do, and it was just throwing me off. So I wanted to stick with the same theme where I had those words love. I colored the letters in with the wink of Stella, which is why they look very sparkly. And then I added love changes everything with a little bit of bumblebee ribbon you see here. I'm tying up now. And this is the layout that I ended up with, Daffodil Delight card base, and it ended up turning out really cute. So just depending on whatever you want your theme to be, you can really do some versatile things with this set. So much, and be sure to stay tuned to the next video. Have a great day, everybody.